What is going on, YouTube? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here, trying out something new. I don't know that I'll stick to this, but I think I'm going to dedicate Mondays to Marvel slash comic book slash non-sports card stuff and just kind of mix it all together. And just kind of talk about whatever is going on or comes to mind regarding any of those topics. So a long time ago, one of my commenters said something about Marvel Mondays. So that's kind of what I'm going to call this, Marvel Mondays. We might talk about some DC, etc., but I'm primarily a Marvel guy. Not saying that we won't delve into other stuff, but that's what I'm calling it. My channel, that's what I'm going to call it. And like I said, I don't 100% know that this will be a thing. But think of this like a not as in-depth weekly sports card market update like I do on Sundays, but instead we're going to do it on Mondays, and we're just going to talk about some general comic book stuff. Either what I'm buying, what I'm looking at, numbers, etc. We'll just kind of see where it goes, play it by ear. But I feel like if I set a day aside for it, then I am more likely to do content about it. Recently, the Marvel stuff kind of slipped away from me because of all the sports card shenanigans that have been going on with grading companies and this, that, and the other thing, and price swings and retail releases. So I just want to set a day aside for it, and here we are. Marvel Mondays. So YouTube stuff down below, like, comment, sub. And I know that these necessarily aren't going to be for everybody. So for those of you that appreciate these videos, you're welcome. I like doing them. I could just based off numbers, they don't perform as well as my normal stuff, but I don't really care because I enjoy talking about this stuff. So I will continue to do them. We are going to start talking about Marvel Universe 1990. I have been tracking the population count on those, the pop reports on those. So just a little update, and we'll probably do this maybe every week, every couple weeks. We'll see. One week I might talk about trading cards. One week I might just talk about comics. This week we're going to talk about a little bit of both. So these numbers go back to the 1st of February, which is kind of when everything started popping off. And to be honest with you, for the first month, the increments were very small. The last few weeks, they've gotten a lot bigger. I've seen for a long time, I was doing updates. They were going up by 5 or 10 total in a day. Now they're going up by 50 or 60 in a day, some days. So I think what's happening is the people that got early express orders in are starting to see grades on those coming back. Like people that were submitting in January and February. I know I have an express order that was checked in early March that is probably still about 2 weeks out. Anyone that did Super Express would have already gotten their stuff back already. But here we sit, and it's interesting. So 900, almost 1,000 cards, 918 cards have been added in basically 2.5 months. And only 23% of those have been PSA 10s. So what you see in front of you there is just a real rough Excel spreadsheet, just kind of going over this stuff. 23% PSA 10, 37% PSA 9, 18% PSA 8, 7% 7, 11% 6, so on and so forth. There are actually a couple PSA 2s and 1s that got added to the report, but I did not include those. They just got added, and I just frankly didn't feel like updating the spreadsheet because it's probably not going to happen that much. So this is playing out exactly how I thought it was going to. Prior to this, like if you looked at the PSA pop report, when this all started, it was way higher than 23% 10s. Now the new stuff getting added in, we're seeing a lot of things less than 10. 77% of stuff sent in is not pulling a PSA 10. What I thought was happening, or what I thought was going to happen, is exactly what's happening. People were just firing this stuff in, not realizing exactly how tough this stuff is to grade. And it's showing. So the real question is, are 200, because the original argument for all this was that the value is going to be tied up in the PSA 10s, and that has shown. PSA 9s are doing okay. you're getting your money back depending on what your submission level was. But PSA 10 is where all the money is at. That's what people want. That's where the demand is, not so much for the 9. I think you could probably do 9, I think, is a very good collector's grade to go for if you don't care about having the best of the best. You just want a near mint card that maybe you could build a set with or whatever and not pay through the absolute nose for it. I would go for PSA 9s. If you're going for the more investment angle, you want the PSA 10s. They're going to be a lot harder to get. And prices are still holding up pretty well. I just pulled up 130 point and I just did a generic Marvel Universe PSA 10 and kind of scrolled through. And by the way, all you people that put PSA 9/10 question mark, I would like to strangle you all on raw cards. The reason why I did this is because I just kind of wanted to see how other years were doing as well. While I haven't been tracking pop reports on like Series 2 and Series 3, I was just curious to see how that stuff sells. So there's some pretty decent stuff. This Carnage from Series 3 for $500. That's a lot for a Series 3 card, but this is Carnage's first card, basically. Also, very tough grade. These Series 3 have a lot of black around the edges, and that makes them very, very tough. But we get into 90 Marvel Universe stuff. You know, this Marvel Comics Presents, not a big card. It's kind of like a joke card. Still getting $237 on a PSA 10. Here's a U.S. agent. Someone tried to time the market on this one with Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At auction, it did 140 Series 2. That's kind of whatever, but we still see everyone wants the Series 1. Here's a thing for $350. Stan Lee still doing well. Auctioned at $1,000. Another one sold down here for like $1,750, I think. Where is it? Right here. Yeah. 1,700 rather, even on a PSA 10 Stan Lee. SGC sales tend to be slow. A couple SGC things slid in on this PSA search because people do comp to PSA BGS. You know, this Marvel Comics Presents, or I'm sorry, Most Valuable Covers. Wolverine going for 120 in an SGC 10. If this was a PSA 10, it would probably be around $350. Here's a Wolverine brown suit as an 8.5. That's basically treated as almost raw practically. This one here, Iron Man SGC 10 for $100. In a PSA 10, I bet you that does at least triple on that, because you're seeing this is Series 2, but like Series 1 Daredevil, $400. So Series 1, Hulk, $736 at auction. Series 1 PSA 10s are still doing pretty well. Here's a Stan Lee for $1,900, Stan Lee for $2,200. And what I have noticed are fixed price / best offer seem to be doing better than auctions in most cases. So, don't price it like an idiot, but if you price your stuff competitively, I think you have a better chance getting a little bit more money on the best offer, buy it now side of things. It might take a little longer to sell. You could force the action and run the auction. Sometimes that's a smart play, but I think on these, I would at least put it up at best offer, buy it now for a little bit and see what happens. And then eventually run it at an auction. Just pay attention to what other people are posting. Gambit in a PSA 10 Series 2 for $200. Here's a Spider-Man black suit for $1,000. That's not too bad. Another $1,700 on a Stan Lee. And these were all within the last week. This is only going back to April 11th. The Stan Lee pop count definitely seems to be increasing. That's the one people are submitting the most because it sells for the most. Makes sense. The problem is, and I've talked about this before as well, there's really nowhere to send these things right now. That has caused, I was curious to see what box prices are going for. Sealed boxes are down to $750, $900, $1,000, $800, $1,000, which is still up quite a bit from the days when they were $100, $200, even $300, $400 before Christmas. So $1,000 a box is actually, I think, a really good deal if you had somewhere to grade them for a reasonable price. The PSA shutdown, I think, has really impacted the box prices on these because, like, I have a box sitting next to me. I would love to rip it. I absolutely would and grade them. And I have 3 orders at PSA right now with Marvel Universe stuff in it, but there's nowhere to send the stuff to. Now, HGA, one of the newer grading companies on the market, has announced just a couple days ago that they have acquired a second facility. And this facility is going to be dedicated to gaming. So Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, and they did not say this in the statement, but I tweeted at them and they responded, Marvel trading cards. The big thing about HGA is they do custom / color match labels on their slabs. Sports card people have really liked them. I see a lot of appeal of an HGA graded Marvel card with a custom label at the top. So for those not familiar with them, this will be a good example. They did a Pat Tillman downtown card, which for those that aren't sports people, Pat Tillman, football player for the Cardinals, was also I'm sorry, I'm going to screw this up. I believe he was in the Army, was killed in the line of duty as an NFL player. He left the NFL to go serve in Afghanistan, I believe, was shot and killed in the line of duty. So he's a very popular player still to this day. And he had a downtown card, which usually has like a highlight. And in this case, it was Americana. Essentially, it looked like a Captain America card. I'll pull it up here in a second. And HGA did a custom label on it. And my thought process was, imagine that label with like a Captain America card. So let me pull this up. This is the Pat Tillman card here. So you could see this card has, the American flag, bald eagle, him in his military uniform, and then him in his Arizona Cardinals uniform. And then they did this custom label at the top with an American flag on it. Now, they also do like color match and stuff like that. They don't necessarily always do these custom labels, but now imagine this label, but with Captain America, or, a red and black label with spider webs across it with a Spider-Man card in there, or, black and white with a Venom card. So I see a lot of appeal to their labels with Marvel cards. Now, they use a 9.5 grading scale. It's very hard to get a 10 with them. So 9.5 is the primary grade. I'll be very curious to see, once they get opened up and start accepting these things, how their stuff fares on the secondary market. I can tell you right now, once they start accepting submissions for Marvel stuff, I will be sending them Marvel stuff. I have not used them yet for sports cards because I really don't have anything I need to grade at the moment, but I will absolutely be sending them some Marvel cards once they start allowing that. And hopefully that will uptick the boxes if these start selling well. I think there's a potential play to be made. It's risky. It's very risky if box prices keep going down, to just hoard these for a little while. Either for the anticipation that PSA opens back up again, or that these become readily acceptable on the secondary market, the HGA slabs. The PSA shutdown, while it has hurt box prices, I think it's probably going to help the single market in the long run, because anyone that didn't get stuff in is not sending it now, because you're not going to send it at $300 a card. Even a Stan Lee is risky at $300 a card. I sent some at $200 a card. I got lucky. I got the PSA 9-on-1. I just barely made money back on that one, but I got 10s on the 2 Spider-Man black suits that I sent, and I did well on those. So the grading situation at the moment is just a mess, and I think that has really hurt sealed wax prices. No one's really taking these things right now. Beckett's is super backed up. PSA is closed. CSG/CGC is not taking Marvel cards yet. There's GMA and SGC, but they resell like crap. And then HGA doesn't yet, but they will be soon. They estimated about 2 months, maybe. So we'll see how that stuff looks. I assume they said that they've sent some stuff out to some influencers, essentially, to get some submissions in to see what they look like for like Pokemon and stuff like that. I have a feeling you'll see mostly Pokemon cards early on in these slabs, but we will see how they do. Let's hop over. I just want to talk about a couple comic book things really quick. I'll try to keep this semi-short. This is going to be more for the non-comic book people that are watching this. I just kind of wanted to show how the TV shows and movies really affect prices on stuff. So this is Incredible Hulk 449. which is the first appearance of the Thunderbolts, which is essentially like Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. It's a team made up of villains that are kept in prison typically and let out every once in a while to go do missions. The thing with it is, and this was their first appearance as a team in this issue of Hulk, a CGC 9.8 is currently going for about $800 or $900. There's only about 500 of these, I believe, on the CGC census. 470, 480, 500. There's not many. The thing with this is there's been a bunch of spec from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So these are the recent sales. Let's go back just a couple months. And if we go back to as soon as the end of February, this was selling for $400. So it has doubled in a month and a half. And you can see it as I scroll up here. You know, it goes from 400. Rumors start coming out. The show starts. People start putting context clues together. Goes to 500, then goes to 600, 650, 7. You know, goes to 7, goes to 8. Hype begins the build, et cetera, and this stuff really starts snowballing. You can also see sales drastically increase. You know, from late February into March, not that many were going, and then now they really start picking up as we move into April. The last few weeks, more have sold in the last few weeks than have sold in the last couple months combined. And this is how the Marvel machine just drives this stuff nuts. And this is why, a big reason why I'm just bullish on the comic book market to begin with, because Marvel's just going to keep making stuff. Now, personally, my approach has been to stay away from the more spec side of things. Maybe I'll change that at some point in time. But like on something like this, even though I do think it's coming, and this isn't even for sure, this could blow up in your face if it doesn't happen. But if it does, it could go to another level. You know, if there's some stinger at the end of the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that introduces the Thunderbolts or even strongly hints at it, these prices could go up again, but you kind of already missed the window to get in back, you know, in February when it was a $400 book instead of a $600 or $700, $800, almost $900 book. So this is going to go one of two ways. It's going to happen on the show, and then I'll be curious to see what this thing looks like next Monday or Tuesday. Or it could not happen, and then this immediately pulls back down again. So there's definitely some risk in there, almost kind of like sports cards. I have been specifically investing more in key things like first appearance Deadpool, key Spider-Man, key X-Men, etc. We're starting to see this affect the market in other ways. One of the things that we've seen a big run up on recently, or that I've noticed a big run up on recently, and I've actually talked about this specific comic book on the channel. This is X-Men number 11 from the 90s. There is nothing special about this comic book. There is no first appearance. It is just a random issue of the X-Men. I shouldn't say nothing special. The one big thing is it's Jim Lee artwork, but he was the artist during this run of the X-Men. He did all the covers. Myself included, and everyone else loves this cover. So it is a classic, modern classic cover. It has really shot up in price lately. And that's because of the rumors of the X-Men stuff coming to the MCU at some point in time. And I think we're still a ways away from that, probably at least years. I think you're going to keep getting breadcrumbs, but until you officially get, you know, like an actual X-Men movie, I think it's still going to be at least a couple of years. But we are seeing massive gains on everything X-Men. I mean, Giant Size X-Men number 1 is through the roof right now. Hulk 181, which is the first appearance of Wolverine, is through the roof right now. But I'm noticing as a Marvel collector and an X-Men specific collector, very early on, I bought this book well over a year ago now for like $100. It's low census. There's only like 150 of them. I just always liked the cover and I wanted it as a display piece. Well, the last about month or so, this thing has really shot up. You can see as I could go back. Here's one in the beginning of March for 152, 100 at the end of February. And now all of a sudden, $299, $299, $350, $400. This thing just keeps going up and up and up. And there's not a lot of them graded. Now, there's probably a lot of them out there, but they're not graded yet. And, you know, who knows how many 9.8s are floating out there. It could be a ton. I don't know if this was a heavily printed issue, but like I said, it's regarded as a classic cover, and you are starting to see that play out across the board. And we are very early on in the X-Men stuff. So my point of this is, if you're diving in the comic books now, a lot of the stuff is extremely expensive. A lot of the Spider-Man stuff is astronomically expensive. Do your homework on X-Men stuff. And a lot of that stuff's gone up too. You know, like 266 first appearance of Gambit is $1,000 already. But there's probably a lot of angles you could work with classic covers and things like that that have not gone up as much yet. And once again, once news actually starts to come out for this stuff, I think it's just going to keep going more and more crazy. So that's the comic book talk for today and the trading card talk for today. Let me know what you guys and girls think. Like I said, I'm going to keep doing I think I'm going to try to do these every week on Mondays. We'll see if something sports card crazy happens. Maybe I'll just do a double episode, or, just push whatever it is to Tuesday. But I would like to try to get in the routine of doing something non-sports card related at least on a weekly basis, and just kind of set a day for it. And that's the day that it happens, because then it forces me to do it on that day. Once you guys and girls have expectations for content on specific days. So that's the plan going forward. That's all I got for you guys and girls today. We'll catch you on the next one tomorrow morning, which will be probably the video from the Canton card show. And then Wednesday will probably be, assuming USPS comes through, a PSA sub reveal video. And I don't know, I may not post that one in the morning. We will see. I might post that as a premiere in the evening / afternoon. We'll see. Actually, what I'll probably do is just post it. Let's do this. I will post it in the morning on Wednesday, PSA reveal video. And then I'm going to plan on, I have not done a live in almost 2 weeks now, maybe a live on Wednesday night. I'll just do a live stream Q&A like I normally do, talk for a couple hours, and just kind of see what happens. So, yeah, that's the plan for the first half of the week. Catch you guys and girls later. Peace.